Hi, I'm Lindsay.
I'm Andrew.
And we are the Romans.
This is our son, Eloise.
It's not... If you want me to be pregnant, then you're going to make the appointment to get out my IUD.
You could make it a funny joke and say the hardest thing about having a baby was me at the beginning, or...
God forbid, I'm so sorry, I don't like to dress my daughter in hot pink, like a flamingo. No. This is our daughter, Eloise. Say hello.
Don't be fooled, even though she's dressed like a boy.
No, she's just dressed in neutrals that I can use these pieces for any future child. I'm smart that way.
And she looks like a boy that way.
God forbid, I'm so sorry, I don't like to dress my daughter in hot pink, like a flamingo. No.
Just brown,
Yeah.
like a rug.
Brown like a rug. Perfect. Were we both nervous about becoming new parents living far from family? Or just in general?
I don't get nervous. I don't know what you're talking about.
He doesn't get nervous, like, at all, ever. I wasn't nervous to become a parent because I live far away from family, but I was nervous to become a parent because I never wanted to be a parent in the past. Like, I never really wanted to be...
Excuse me.
I didn't really want to have kids, ever. So I think I was just nervous to become a parent from the sense of not knowing, like, what the heck to do. Like, what do they sleep and then you feed them, and then I was nervous about all of it. And he wasn't nervous for any of it, because he never gets nervous. You never cry. You're like a rock of unemotion.
I have the emotional capacity of a rock.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good... Okay, so when did we know when we were ready to have a baby? When we got married, we agreed that we were going to wait 5 years, and we waited...
No.
I think...
It's a stormy outside, so this is like the perfect time to do a Q&A for you guys. When the lights are flashing, when the power very well could go out. Perfect time. When we got married, we agreed to wait 5 years to have kids, and we made it 3 years.
We cut it.
But because I was...
Here, hold on. I think when we decided on 5 years, we gave it, or at least I made sure there was at least two conditions. That A, God can do whatever He wants, whenever He wants. It doesn't matter if you're on birth control or any sort of contraceptives. If He wants to make you pregnant, He's gonna give you a baby, and that's a blessing. And two, He can change our hearts and our minds at any point in time, and that's what He did.
So I was on an IUD, and I think it would last 5 years, right?
Yeah.
And so then about 3 years in, we decided to get it out and to kind of not try, but not try.
Mm-hmm. And it was pretty much trying because it worked pretty quick.
Yeah, but that was a decision that was hard. Like, you had to force me to make the appointment, or I think you even made the appointment, because I was like, if you want me to be pregnant, then you're going to make the appointment to get out my IUD. I was being super dramatic about it.
But I think the big heart change was really prompted by meeting Sina Nelson.
Yeah, we met a friend on the island who had kids, and she made it work, and I had always thought before meeting her, like, oh, when kids come into your life, they ruin everything. You can no longer do what you were designed to do. I thought that they made your world absolute chaos. And I think there is a little bit of truth in those things, but it doesn't have... It can look however you want it to look like. You can be the kind of parent that you want to be. You don't have to follow a mold that other people have done. And I kind of saw her doing that, and it really inspired me. And I think, the heart change started after that, after meeting her.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were pregnant with Eloise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's you.
That's a good one. What's the hardest thing about having a baby?
Pushing it out of your vagina.
Oh, like you did that.
There was a general question of what's the hardest thing, and
you don't know.
You could make it a funny joke and say the hardest thing about having a baby was me at the beginning, or you could say like, oh, obviously the hardest thing was the process of getting it out.
That's about pregnancy and birth. The hardest thing about what's the hardest thing about having a child living with us now? You can nowhere, at no point in time can you ever just go, like, leave it and go somewhere. Like, it's a part of your family. She's a part of our family, and you always have to bring her along. Like, you can't just, like, it's another moving part that you have to think about.
I mean, yeah, you're making a huge life change. I really don't think it's that big of a deal.
It wasn't that huge. I mean, it is.
It is huge, but it's
also,
not that big of a deal.
You just have to remember, if like we both have to do something, we need a babysitter. Or if we're going somewhere, she also has to come with. Their table for 2.5, please. Not a table for 2.
Or your friend, the one with the Moab and Yosemite tattoo.
Abby Hearn.
Yeah, she made that funny joke on your podcast. Hey,
because I was saying we want to potentially go on the road, and they have a dog. They go on the road, and they have a dog, and I was saying, well, you guys go on the road with a dog. That's like the same thing. And she said, well, except I can leave mine in a cage and you can't. Fair point.
Yeah, if we put her in a cage, I don't think that's illegal.
That's barbaric.
If you just leave her in a cage in a van.
That's very bad.
You want to go in a cage? Even though, if you actually think about it, half the baby supplies are cages.
Like a crib.
A crib is a prison
jail.
sale. Like, sale.
A crib is a prison.
Prison sale.
A crib is a prison jail.
Yeah.
Cell.
A high chair is a jail.
Everything that you put them in, a stroller,
jail,
a car seat,
jail.
it's all you strap them in.
You literally are saying no.
Okay, so it's basically a cage.
I mean, that's like essence of parenting. You are an adolescent. You don't know how to control yourself, so we have to do it for you. You don't know how to move. You don't know where to go, what's safe, what's not. So
in general, though, I don't really like looking at like the negatives of parenting. I mean, because your life changes, and there might be harder things that you have to deal with and think about, but ultimately, it's such a joy. Like, having the honor to raise a little person is such a joy. I think you should look at it that way versus the negativity that comes along with the mindset of like, oh, you're a parent now, time to settle down. Like, no, screw that.
No, yeah, you do whatever you want to do.
You don't have to settle down.
Your life changes, but your priorities can still be your priorities, and how you adapt to life is still how you choose.
Yeah.
And if, big kind of changes in your life don't change who you are and shouldn't change who you are. Like, if you're this kind of a man, as soon as you put a ring on it, you're not going to change. Like,
right.
You're not going to be a better man or a worse man. You're the same man with a ring, I'm the same man, just with a child now. There are, prompts to mature, but you're still the same person, and if you really want to continue to be that same person, you should prioritize it.
Okay, so are we going to homeschool? We want to.
Probably.
We really, really want to, and I think if we both share that role, then that would be ideal. We're pretty passionate about that one, though, because there's a lot with our world that we're not okay with, and there's a lot with just public education that we're not okay with. We're really not okay with the things that the government forces people to learn in public education, and I think we want a little bit more of control over.
Mm-hmm. But we also recognize that we've talked with a number of people about it, and there's definitely pros and cons to each side of thing.
Yeah.
There are pros of having a public education, and a lot of people, I think, complain about the social aspect of too, which is something that is hard to find elsewhere for children. And we're trying to. We're definitely still exploring all of our options and how to go about it. We're really not entirely certain, but we feel like we're leaning towards homeschooling and really working to educate our children appropriately. I think one driving factor for me, especially of why homeschooling seems so appealing, is that I want to be able to nurture my children's talents and skills early.
Like, if she shows more interest in math and science, then let's nurture that and give her a little bit more time with math and science. Or if she's more of a creative, mm-hmm. and we see signs of, she really likes music, well, let's nurture that from a young age and really facilitate that skill.
Who's gonna know? They're if there's anyone in the world who's gonna know her better than us to be able to know what she's interested and passionate in, and be able to, who's gonna give her more direct time and freedom to pursue that, to be the best she could be at it, and be ready to really pursue that by the time she's ready to be an adult. Like, we
Yeah.
have no intention of creating adults who aren't ready to adult by the time they turn 18.
Oh, yes.
So, and
Yeah.
like I said, we're very inexperienced at that, but that's kind of our motives driving where we're putting our time and energy and research. And we've got a lot of things to do before we get to starting school. And there's other options that I think, there's a lot of really good private schools out there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if all public schools are absolute garbage.
Not all of them, I don't think.
There's pros and cons to each, but we're kind of considering our options, and depending where we are, what kind of community we're in, when it's time to put them in school. And it could be a hybrid, it could be homeschool till she's this grade and then do something else. And I think, but the driving factor is we really want to tailor our education, the education we give each child to the child, so that way they can have what they need to be successful, productive members of society. And if we have that ability as capable, independent adults ourselves, I want to pass that on to our children.
Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Till next time, roaming around.